Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have an IdeaPad Flex 5. I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour, show you how to get inside, and many of the various components you can access once you're in. So first, power down your computer through the start menu, make sure it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip your computer over to access the bottom case screws. Now you have a total of 9 screws on your bottom case. After removing those, you're going to take a small, flat, preferably plastic pry tool, and you're going to insert it near one of the back 2 hinge assemblies. This is usually the easiest place to start prying your bottom case off. When you get it in, you're going to go gently, slowly but firm along the edge of the bottom case and pry it off from your computer. If you run into a situation where it gets stuck and you can't get any more out, go to the other side, start in the other direction. Now make sure to not put the pry tool too far in. You could damage some internal components. Just keep it on the edge and you'll be able to get your bottom case off. After removing your bottom case, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general computer repair side note, guys, whenever I'm going into a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your project, as well as any replacement or upgrade parts for this specific model, the Flex 5, there will be a link above, also below in the description, and it will be a list of all those tools and supplies, plus all the replacement parts and upgrade parts for this computer. Now, before touching anything in a computer, it's always safe to either remove or at least unplug your battery. Computers are safest to work on when as little power as possible is running through them. Now, your battery is right down here. This is an 11.52 volt battery, 51 watt hour. The part number, if you're looking for a replacement, is L19M3PD6. I will have all that information below in the description if you need it, but I will also include a battery replacement option in the description in that link I told you about with all of the replacement and upgrade parts for this model computer. To get your battery up, you have these 4 screws by the red arrows, and the green arrow shows where it's plugged into the motherboard. Now, as a quick word of caution, this screw right here near the red arrow, as you can see in my computer and most likely in yours, there is what's called a warranty void sticker on that screw. You may see these at various points in computers when you work on them. These will usually void part or all of your warranty if they're disturbed. So just keep that in mind. Consult your own warranty to see what the actual specs are for your warranty. But keep in mind that these stickers can void part or all of your warranty if it's obvious that you have messed with them. As far as the battery being plugged into the motherboard here, it's usually best to not pull on wires when at all possible in a computer. Wires can break. They can also come right out of the plug if they're pulled on too aggressively. It's better to just pull on the plug. But in this case, this plug had a very small profile. I couldn't really get a good grip on it without unscrewing the battery and then putting my fingers around the entire wire thing there and kind of wiggling it out of that port. So I did have to put some pressure on those wires. I guess the last thing that I can mention about a battery replacement, if you're here because your computer is not turning on, your battery could be bad and you may need to replace it. But keep in mind that most laptops should still turn on and function well, even with a bad battery, as long as the charger is plugged in. So if your computer is not turning on, there may be another thing wrong than simply a bad battery. If you would like help troubleshooting why your computer is not turning on, there'll be a video link above. Also below in the description, that will be a full tutorial video showing you how to troubleshoot a laptop that's not turning on and how to fix it. As far as storage goes, this computer has a single M.2 PCIe NVMe solid-state drive port right here. As you can see, this is a smaller 2242 solid-state drive, but as you can see from this extender, this will also fit the larger 2280 solid-state drives as well. I will have all of the solid-state drive information below in the description if you need to reference it, but I will also include several replacement and upgrade options in that link I told you about with all the replacement and upgrade parts for this model computer. Now, if you're going to stick with the smaller 2242 solid-state drives as pictured here, and I believe most of you will have that stock, the sizes you can take in this computer, you can do a 128 gigabyte, a 256 or a 512 gigabyte solid state drive in this 2242 size. If you want to do a larger size, the 2280s, you can go up to, again, a 500 gigabyte or even a 1 terabyte solid state drive. So below in that link, I will have a couple different options for the smaller 2242s. I'll probably try to have the 256 and the 500. And then for the larger 2280 drives, I'll try to have a 500 gigabyte and then a 1 terabyte if you guys want to fully upgrade. And just as a side point, if you wanted like educate yourself a little more in the difference between hard drives and the different kinds of solid state drives, I'll have a video tutorial link below in the description. That'll just kind of be an intro tutorial and just educating you on how those drives are different from each other and how one may work better than the other depending on what you want it for. And I guess the last thing I can mention about a storage replacement like this, if you are installing a new drive into your computer, you're probably going to need to install an operating system onto it in order to use your computer. So below in the description, I will have 2 video tutorials. One will show you how to install Windows 10 onto a Lenovo laptop. The other will show you how to install Windows 11 onto a Lenovo laptop. And if you are replacing an old drive that may be bad or corrupted, and you do want to get some data off it, in most cases that is possible. I will have more information about recovering data from bad drives below in the description as well. As far as the RAM goes, the memory, if you notice, there are no RAM ports in this computer. The RAM is integrated or soldered into the motherboard, so it's not independently removable or upgradable. So if you want to upgrade your RAM or your memory, the only way would be to swap out the whole motherboard for one with a higher RAM value. And I do believe that this specific model, the 15ITL05, I do think that this model comes in 3 different sizes for RAM. You have 8 gigabytes, 12 gigabytes, or 16 gigabytes. But again, it's soldered. So you would have to actually swap the motherboard out to the higher value RAM motherboard. As far as speakers, you have this one here near the top right of my screen. A wire runs from that underneath your heatsink assembly to this speaker right here to the left of the fan. Now these speakers are not actually screwed down. You'll see these black rubber washers here over those posts for sound insulation. That's all that's holding those speakers down, so you can wiggle them right off. You do need to take up your heatsink though to get at that wire. You can do that by removing these 3 screws here over your heatsink CPU, and that heatsink will come up. This speaker plugs into the motherboard all the way down here, right there. Now, speaker wires are very fragile, so definitely don't pull on that wire. Use your fingernails or a pry tool to get that out of the motherboard right there. If you would like help finding speaker replacements, I will have them below in the description in that link I told you about with the replacement and upgrade parts for this model computer. Last thing to mention, if you do need to take up this heatsink and you expose the thermal paste to air, you do need to reapply it. Once thermal paste has been exposed to air, it no longer works properly. So you're going to want to clean all the old thermal paste off. You don't want to put new paste on top of old paste. And then you want to put the correct amount of thermal paste down. If you put too much, you'll end up locking heat in rather than getting it out of that area. I will have a video tutorial below in the description. It'll show you how to fix an overheating computer. And one of the things you'll see in that video is how to clean all the old thermal paste off and how to apply the right amount on afterwards. And I guess as a side note about that, not all thermal pastes are created equal. The cheaper ones will do an okay job, but usually the ones that are more expensive will do a better job at facilitating heat transfer out. So below in the description in that link with all the replacement parts, I will also include a cheaper thermal paste option as well as a slightly more expensive thermal paste option. Your Wi-Fi card is right down here near the right-hand side of my screen, just above the battery. This is a Wi-Fi 6 card, 802.11ax. It uses Bluetooth 5.0 and it fits in this M2 slot. I will have all the Wi-Fi card information below in the description if you need it to find a replacement, but I will also include a replacement card in that list I told you about with all the replacement and upgrade parts for this model computer. To get the Wi-Fi card out, you would undo this single screw right here, and then you can pull the Wi-Fi card out of that M2 port, and then all you have left are these antenna wire that snap onto it here. they go to this antenna here, and then down under the battery to this antenna here. Now, those are just snaps. You pull those directly up and off of the Wi-Fi card. They do need to be at a perfect 90-degree angle to snap back on, and you are strong enough to damage them if they're not at the right angle and you try to force it. So just be careful, go slow. It could be a pain in the butt if you're not used to it, but you will be able to snap those back on. I guess as a last point to mention with this kind of an operation, if you are having Wi-Fi issues in your computer, if you cannot see your Wi-Fi options and you can't access them, it's most likely not due to a bad Wi-Fi card. If you want help troubleshooting that issue, there will be a video link below in the description showing you how to recover your Wi-Fi options if you cannot access them. If you want to access your fan, you have these 3 screws right here to access your fan, and the fan plugs into the motherboard right here. Now, keep in mind, fan wires are probably one of the most fragile wires in a computer, so definitely just pull on that plug to get it out of that port. After you get the fan out, you can replace it. If that's why you're here, you can clean it out. If that's why you're here, your heatsink is held down by these 3 screws right here. Now, just as a word of caution, if you are taking your heatsink up in a computer for any reason and you expose that thermal paste to air, you do need to then reapply it. Once that seal has been broken, once air has gotten in between your thermal paste, it will no longer do its job very well and it should be reapplied. I will have a video link below in the description. It'll be a tutorial showing you how to fix an overheating laptop. One of the things it will show you in that video is how to clean off all the old paste from both sides, from your CPU as well as your heatsink, and then it will show you how to reapply the correct amount of thermal paste. If you put too much down, you could end up locking heat in rather than facilitating its transport out. So it's important to not put too much down. Another thing to keep in mind is not all thermal pastes are created equal. The cheaper stuff will do the job, but the more expensive stuff will help heat transfer go a little better. So below in the description, in that link I told you about with all the replacement parts and tools for this computer, I will include a couple different thermal paste options. One will be very cheap, very inexpensive. The other will be a little more expensive, but do a better job. After cleaning out your heatsink or whatever you're here to do, you can put it back down after reapplying thermal paste, and you can reattach your fan. The CPU itself in this computer is integrated into the motherboard. It cannot be independently changed, unfortunately. If you do want another CPU, you would have to swap out your motherboard for a higher CPU option. I guess another thing that I can mention about working in this computer, you see here your ribbon cables. You got one here, one over here, some smaller ones there, a larger one here. When you're working on these type of ribbon cable connectors, be very careful because they're very fragile. And if you break them, you may not be able to secure your ribbon cables down well again. So just to make sure you do these right, these little black clips here, the way you would operate those is you would take a small, very flat pry tool, you would slide it up here from this direction and gently pop those up. They'll open kind of like a book cover. So they'll pop up, the hinges are on top, and then you can slide the ribbon cable out. Again, if you do break those clips, they're very hard to repair. They're very hard to replace. So go nice and slow. Be careful when working on those. This one, the clip's in the back area, so you would deal with it from this direction here. This is your LCD cable right here. That's how you would get that up. And if you are looking to access your LCD assembly, you would need to remove that as well as unscrew both hinge assemblies right here and right here, both corners. You would unscrew the hinge assemblies, and then you can take your LCD assembly up. If you are looking to get inside your LCD assembly to replace your actual LCD, I will have a video tutorial link below in the description showing you a general LCD replacement video. If that doesn't give you enough information and you need more help with your specific model, leave me a comment, let me know the model you're working on, and I'll try to help you out. But that's the end of this video, how to get inside the IdeaPad Flex 5 and access many of the internal components. Thanks again so much for watching. Please remember to like and share if this helped you out, if you think it can help someone else out. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoy DIY computer content like this, or if you just want to keep me on hand to answer any of your future computer questions. I do try to answer all questions throughout my channel at least a couple times a day. Also, feel free to check out the related link section below in the description. From time to time, I do try to add things in there that I think will help you with your general computer life, make it more productive, more enjoyable. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.